Good evening, Chicago. Happy Tuesday. This is your fill-in host, Jerry Vasilatos, here at Chicago Corner. Kira McCown is taking the night off. I believe she's on vacation. So I am here this evening to bring you up to speed and up to date on all the news this week or from the weekend and last week as it impacts all of us here in Chicago. It actually was a little bit of a slow news week as I was curating stories today and looking for what was, interesting to share and talk about. So in the meantime, before we go into tonight's show, let me welcome and introduce the co-host for Tuesday and Friday night Chicago Corners, Mr. Edward Heller. He's our support staff here. He's our support producer.
Good evening. Hello, welcome, Chicago.
I wish I had one of those. I only was able to pull some cold water out, but let's see who's in the live chat tonight. We've got Arturo Medina. Hey, Art, welcome. Pat Brannigan, we've got 9 viewers. Hey, don't be quiet, everybody. Share a shout out and a hello in the live chat. Let us know you're here as we hope that you'll be able to contribute and comment on the many stories we'll be covering tonight. Anything interesting on your end, Ed?
Anything interesting? I think I managed to get my lighting decent this evening.
Yeah, it looks brighter. It looks good.
Yeah, so
we talked about that. You just needed a little fill light there, a little key light.
I basically had to just crank up all of my ceiling lights in the room so I'd get the ambient light. Because if I turn those off, then it's just me, and then everything else looks dark, like unnaturally dark. It's not that dark in here. It's hard to see without on the camera. So I just make it a little brighter in here.
We all have to wrestle with tech issues across our different channels and platforms. I know that it appeared today. I don't know what's going on other than I know that there's some technical issues that they're dealing with over at Heartlands Media that will hopefully be resolved pretty soon. But yeah, running these shows takes a lot of effort, equipment, making sure we're going out HD, the lights, running the StreamYard dashboard. It's all, it's not complicated once you get the swing of it, but there is a bit of a learning curve on the front end, always. Which is why Kira and I are so happy to have Ed co-hosting with us on Tuesdays and Fridays to help pick up the slack when we're reading a story and we can't move fast enough to the dashboard to drop in one of our favorite inserts as I'm doing right now. But hey, Ed, since you joined me tonight.
You son of a bitch. Welcome to the party, pal.
There you go.
Thanks a lot.
That's what I mean.
I love these new clips that you're throwing in there.
Let that be a lesson to you boys and girls. Don't ever argue with the big dog. Big dog is always right.
And I've got Oreo on this end dominating my desktop. He's on top of my keyboard. I'm hoping he doesn't end up pushing a button he's not supposed to. He's biting my. And there you go. You know, it was so cool getting past the learning curve of understanding the way to bypass the silly YouTube copyright strikes for very, very brief drop-ins. Here's what's funny. We sometimes go 2 hours on this show and we drop in little inserts to spice things up and entertain. And an entire 2-hour broadcast can be copyright struck because of the music from something that may have been in the stream for, 15 seconds to maybe a minute. So what I did was I went to YouTube and I found cover versions of music, for example, Girl from Ipanema or the Batman versus Superman Justice League theme. I found musical versions that were done by other people that YouTube's algorithm can't pinpoint and identify as the tracks that Warner Brothers or any of these other studios enter into their servers to like instantly hit people with copyright strikes and screw up their programming. So that's a lot of the post-production I've been doing behind the scenes with my Adobe Premiere, is like putting new music tracks in. So every time we bring you something like that, it's not from the Blues Brothers, so they can't hassle us. Where's another one? Here's another one. I had to like completely remix this with thunderstorms and everything else. That's for when we talk about the city of Chicago needing a hero or heroes. Anyway.
And that's how the sausage is made.
There you go. There you go. Well, without further ado, let's go into tonight's first story, which I saw dominating a lot of the news cycle, and there are several links to this story that we're going to go over. The Chicago Bears are now showing renderings of the type of stadium that they want the citizens of Arlington Heights to build for them. And it's funny because these articles always reference the owners of the Bears. The only owner of the Bears right now is Virginia McCaskey. Okay, the old crone who's in the show thumbnail, who's got her grandfather George's money, his son Mike McCaskey's money. This is not a poor family that has to go out with their cup in their hands.
No, they can do this all by themselves. They don't need anybody's help funding these stadiums.
That's right. So the Chicago Tribune reported today, of which I'm very proud and happy that I can start sharing that screen without all the technical difficulties. By the way, I also upgraded my Mac operating system, fresh install. We should have no more show hiccups. Fingers crossed. All right.
Yes, but we might be invaded by Skynet. We'll have to stay tuned for that.
Possibly, yes. So this comes to us from Robert McCoppin and Gregory Pratt at the Chicago Tribune. Chicago Bears show renderings for the enclosed stadium complex in Arlington Heights, but say they'd expect some public funding for surrounding entertainment district. All right, let's get these pictures up. So that's going to be the view from the enclosed stadium complex. I don't know if that's looking north or what direction, but that's all the redevelopment they want Arlington Heights to provide for them. Now that's the old racetrack right now as it stands, which I guess from their renderings is going to be completely torn down.
Yeah, it would have to be.
I guess that's downtown Arlington Heights there. There's an advertisement that's not going to come through. All right, so let me get to the article though. Scrolling down over here. For the first time, the Chicago Bears confirmed Tuesday that the stadium the team is considering building in Arlington Heights would be domed, but the team also called for taxpayer funding of a portion of the project and noted that the plan is still tentative. The Bears released illustrations of the proposed project and a statement that was the most detailed yet on its proposal to buy Arlington International Racecourse. It said the stadium would be a best-in-class enclosed stadium, providing Chicagoland with a new home worthy of hosting global events such as the Super Bowl, college football playoffs, and Final Four. There are a lot of in-class enclosed spaces in the city of Chicago, most notably. So I understand that there has to be a certain kind of infrastructure for football games, baseball games. But when they're talking about global events such as, I guess those do have to be outdoor. Because what I was going to reference, Ed, was the usually empty McCormick Place, not the new complex, but the black complex that's off the lake. You empty that place out. I mean, the floor space in there for trade shows, when they're talking about creating more enclosed spaces, it's not like they've got to spend more taxpayer money building that just to enrich them. Here's another rendering of what the whole complex is going to look like. The 326-acre development would also include restaurants, office spaces, a hotel, fitness center, new parks, and open spaces. Sorry, forgot to bring the screen up. The team estimated the construction of the proposed project would create 48,000 jobs, a $9.4 billion economic impact for Chicagoland, and $1.4 billion in annual economic impact. The team would not seek taxpayer help to build the stadium, but given the economic impact, would seek public funding for the rest of the project. Isn't it ironic, Ed, they already have all that around Soldier Field, short the enclosure on the top? And they're also still tied into that contract, right? They're basically on Soldier Field before.
Aren't they going to be stuck there till like 2026 or something?
Yeah. We remain under. Oh, go ahead.
It's all. I mean, at this point, they're all just making wish lists here.
Right.
I mean, this is their version of the Chicago Corner Manifesto, except it's for football.
Yeah. At the expense of taxpayers for what they don't want to pay for, to move the team somewhere where it really doesn't need to be moved, since I haven't heard any talk about them renaming the team the Arlington Heights Bears yet. We remain under contract to purchase the property, but there are conditions that must be met in order to be in a position to close, the team wrote in a statement. If we do close on the property, it does not guarantee we will develop it.
So, it could just end up being a training field.
They're taking hostages everywhere, Ed. These fucking elite witch. Yeah. We can't get what we want with Chicago. We're going to go to Arlington Heights, but then we're going to hold Arlington Heights hostage if we don't get what we want there. When are you guys going to focus on improving the team? The illustrations released Tuesday show a map that indicates that the stadium would be along Route 53 in the Metro commuter tracks. A mixed-use district would be southeast of the stadium. Now, to play the flip side of this, it is true most of the Bears fans that attend Soldier Field are like pretty much coming from the suburbs and outlying areas, because people in Chicago can't afford Bears tickets, I don't think, unless you live downtown in the Loop or over in Streeterville or the Gold Coast.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if the people could afford them, there's only so many games you can go to, and being a resident of the city, I mean, you're not going to pack the stadium if you're not getting people out from the burbs.
Yeah. So Raymond Lopez shared, I thought this was funny. Crazy how this official city tweet from last September reflects the Plan B Chicago's mayor has been talking about, which we'll get into in a moment. Halloween costume 2021, the Arlington Bear. It's turning Soldier Field into a Spirit Halloween complex, since there won't be anybody playing football there anymore.
Yeah, but they do have some pretty good costumes over there. So, that'd be a pretty nice kind of like everyone would be able to go and get their costume all at the same time.
Pretty much. So the team has played at Soldier Field in Chicago for half a century and pays about $6.5 million a year in rent. Its lease runs through 2033, but the team could break the lease for $84 million as of 2026.
Yeah, so they're wanting to buy the land, and they're willing to pay $84 million to break the lease.
Yeah.
And
that's probably why they want Arlington. That's probably why they want Arlington Heights to build all that surrounding infrastructure, because it's going to cost them $84 million to break the lease.
Yeah, and it's like,
God, don't you wish you had $84 million you could just flush down the toilet to get what you wanted that easily? I mean, you want
to... Yes. But, I mean, it's just a huge waste.
We call it rich people's problems.
Yeah.
In July, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot proposed options to build a dome over Soldier Field for $2.2 billion, without specifying how it would be paid. In September of 2021, the Bears signed a preliminary agreement to buy the Arlington site from track owner Churchill Downs Incorp., which shut down the racetrack last year. We remain under contract to purchase the property, but there are conditions that must be. This sounds like Elon Musk's conditions with Twitter, and he bailed out. And now they've got all that legal drama with the lawsuits back and forth, because he can afford.
We could talk about that for a minute too.
Go ahead.
I don't know too much of the details, but there was something going on in court today with some back and forth between the lawyers, because they were because basically Musk's lawyer keeps saying that they're hiding stuff from us, then they're not giving us the real information of how many bots exist on Twitter. And if any of you have used Twitter, there is a lot of bots on Twitter.
Yeah, I have no question whatsoever what Musk's concerns are very well founded. Let's go to the live chat, though. We've got some good comments from our viewers tonight. Let's see here. Art, if you guys were to get 7 other co-hosts, you can then recreate the opening credits of the Brady Bunch. That's true. Well, Art, I was thinking tonight I'd like to have you back sometime soon when you've got some free time. Let's see here. Pat Brannigan. So why should we Chicagoans give the Arlington Heights Bears anything?
We shouldn't.
We shouldn't. My taxes for the rich, rather give it to the kids that were just bussed into Chicago from Texas, right? Yeah, exactly. Fine. Will there be a segregated bathroom for Hispanics in the Dome?
That's
good question, Art.
Man.
Good. The city of Arlington Heights can give the Arlington Heights Bears the funding for their Arlington Heights Stadium.
They, you know, that if they actually move out there in 2026, they're going to try to keep the Chicago name.
Oh, of course they are.
And then people are just going to have a freaking fit.
Yep. And as AG shares, sue them to not use Chicago. Pat Brannigan. Absolutely. If they will not stay in Chicago, then they should not be allowed to use our name. And I've been saying that since this story started percolating last year. If they can't find a location, like they can't find a quarterback, maybe Chicago should start a football team. Remember what happened when the Cardinals left Chicago? Southsiders started supporting Green Bay. LOL. Yeah, this is interesting too. So I wish someone would buy Arlington and start the races up again. So were the races shut down because of the pandemic? Do you know, Ed? I'm not.
I think that had a lot to do with it. Yeah. I don't know what kind of financial issues they were having before the pandemic, but it didn't sound like they were doing really great, except for, you know, a handful of events that they have, you know, like when they have, what is it called, the Kentucky Derby, or if they have, and they're not even having the Kentucky Derby in Kentucky or at Arlington Park, so it would just be people going there to place bets and watching the horses on video or something. I don't know.
This is what I propose Mayor Lightfoot should do. She should forgive the $84 million lease break so long as Chicago gets the use of the name the Chicago Bears. And let's see how well they do out in Arlington Heights after that. That's what should happen. That's what should happen. All right. So while under contract with the seller of Arlington Park, we will not be discussing or exploring any other alternative stadium sites or other opportunities, including renovations of Soldier Field, the team stated. If the team does proceed with the purchase of the Arlington property, and if the Bears organization then chooses to proceed with the development of the property, the project will be one of the largest developments projects in Illinois state history. The team projected that construction would generate $3.9 billion in labor income to workers, with more than 9,750 long-term jobs and $601 million in annual worker income. They have a fucking stadium downtown, and it's just more money. This just drives me crazy every time I see new developments, knowing we've got existing structures that could either be redeveloped, renovated, restored. They're empty so that people can go throw more money. Yeah, does it create jobs? Sure. But in the long run, the expenses are far going to exceed what's put out on the front end, and they're going to lose money later.
Well, and also these job projections that they're saying they're going to generate $3.9 billion in labor income and all those jobs and stuff. Okay, but then all those jobs that were at Soldier Field are going to be gone now. Yeah. So it's a wash. You know, maybe some of those people will end up going out to the burbs to do basically the same job. Some of them won't. But you're not really creating jobs here. You're just moving your team.
Yeah, exactly. You're just shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic, as we like to say. All right, so here they then revealed what the stadium campus could look like that they want Arlington Heights to build for them. We shared this picture. Arlington Park could be much more than a stadium project with entertainment, retail, and housing, according to the team. They released images and details about what the campus could look like. We envision a multi-purpose entertainment district anchored by a new best-in-class enclosed stadium, providing Chicagoland with a new home worthy of hosting global events. That was also reported in the Tribune article. Oh, so it looks like Block Club Chicago is kind of porting in information from the Tribune article. So that's what it could look like. And then they also have a map underneath it. There we go.
Okay.
Master plan vision.
I mean, mixed use district. Okay. They're just trying to make a little tiny city there, is what it looks like they're doing.
Yeah. So Chicago officials have hoped they can keep the team at Soldier Field during months-long negotiations, as we know. Earlier Tuesday, Mayor Lori Lightfoot said the city has made a compelling case for the Bears to stay here. She still hopes the team will decide to remain in Chicago, she said. We're going to continue our discussions with the league, Lightfoot said in an unrelated news conference. We've got Plan B, Plan C, and others in the works, as well if the Bears decide they're going to abandon the city of Chicago. I hope they don't, and we're going to keep fighting that fight as long as we possibly can. Lightfoot didn't say what those backup plans entail, though she's hinted she could try to bring another team to Chicago, or the city could redevelop Soldier Field and the surrounding area for concerts and other uses. The announcement is the latest twist in the stadium drama between the Bears and the city of Chicago, a saga that dates back to the 70s when the team first threatened to leave Soldier Field for Arlington Heights. Now, it's interesting that she's talking about redeveloping it for stadiums and concerts, given a lot of other properties that are being converted for concerts. For example, this one. I just saw this like last minute before the show. Oh, no, not this one. Sorry. Hold on. Let me bring the screen down and bring up the article I was looking at. Remember the Morton Salt Factory?
Yeah.
All right. So
funny they got that half done.
Yeah.
They've been doing some outdoor shows while they continue working on the indoor part of the venue.
So, there's a studio nearby there called the SNA Studio. It's a production studio. And apparently they didn't look ahead of time to realize that all the noise from the Morton Salt Factory being redeveloped for concert use was going to interfere with the studio nearby's ability to have clients come in and do their work.
Are they going to ask the guys who own the Morton Salt venue to reimburse them for soundproofing?
We're going to get to this story more towards the end of the show, but as we're talking about Lightfoot, discussing what could happen over at Soldier Field, redeveloping it for concerts and stuff. The city's got money to redevelop stuff all over the city for concerts, except they don't really put a lot of work into, I guess, exploring the potential impact beforehand, because now this studio is like their business is impacted by the rush to turn Morton Salt into a music venue. But anyway, let's go back to the Bears story. So Gregory Pratt reports on Twitter, Mayor Lightfoot to the Bears. I'm somebody who likes to plan, so we've got Plan B, Plan C, and others in works, as well if the Bears decide that they're going to abandon the city of Chicago. I hope they don't. We're going to keep fighting that fight as long as we possibly can. As of August 29th, Chicago police recorded 1,123 vehicular hijackings this year. CPD data shows arrests were made in just 75 cases. Mark Daly shares, I can't imagine why the Bears would consider abandoning the city. So I think, Ed, you had some stuff to share regarding Mayor Lightfoot and
we had
Plan B and Plan C.
Well, I had them both loaded up there. I don't know where Plan C went, but we've seen Plan C, Plan B before. Hold on. Here was Plan B. B
right.
for bean.
Yep.
You see how they put the bean on the as a dome covering for the existing Soldier Field. And let me see if I got the other one around here. I think, what did I do with that thing?
Pat Brannigan, we have crumbling bridges, potholes that suck children to China, and schools falling apart. No money for the elites and their teams. Of course, if we lose enough children to China through the potholes, we won't need schools. Good point. And I like AG's comment the most. Lightfoot should resign and go be the Bears mascot.
Okay. And there's Plan C, which of course, is a double bean.
Yeah.
Because, that's what Lori does. It's always the double with the bean.
Because all she ever does is double down on her lame-brained harebrained schemes.
Excuse me, Jerry. I think that was well presented. I think actually we were thinking about a triple bean as well, but we just didn't have time to pay the artist, and so we just went with the single option which we've presented before, and of course double bean, because Chicago beans.
I want to address AG's comment that Lightfoot should resign and go be the Bears mascot. It's not like she doesn't have the outfits for it. So yeah, that's happening. Yes, there's another one. Thank you. Yeah, that's one of her favorites, the Rona Destroyer. My God, what are we dealing with here? All right, let me transition into our next story. I've just had enough. I mean, this is just, like I said, rich people's problems, right? All right, let me get the next story queued up here. You know, this is an ongoing story, given that it was kind of a slow news week, because another alderperson dropped out. And we now have it reported from Block Club Chicago and Lori Lightfoot weighing in on it also. Will more alderpeople step down? Lightfoot expects more announcements as City Hall faces great resignation. This comes to us from Kelly Bauer at Block Club. A dozen aldermen have already said they're retiring or won't run for re-election, and Mayor Lori Lightfoot said she expects to see more announcements. What does she know that we don't, and why they're all dropping like flies or rats from a sinking ship? Alderpeople resigning and retiring left and right. A dozen alderpeople out of the city council's 50 have resigned recently or announced they won't run for re-election or will seek another office. So here's the latest. Alderman Susan Sidlowski Garza of the 10th joined them Monday when she announced she won't run for re-election after 2 terms representing the Southeast side. If there's been a lot written about the Great Resignation, Lightfoot said at an unrelated news conference Tuesday morning, aldermen are not indifferent to that. Some alderpeople have said they're changing jobs to focus on their families or other pursuits. Others plan to challenge Lightfoot in the mayoral race, which means they can't run to be an alderman, which is what Lopez is doing. And it's a tough time to be an incumbent candidate and a civil servant, as the pandemic has posed unique challenges to political leaders, Lightfoot said. It's been very difficult to be a public servant, to be on the front line, Lightfoot said. They have a job that is very different than anyone else. I think a number who have served have just decided, I want to move on and do something different. The Great Resignation didn't pass us by. People were making decisions about what's in the best interest for them and their family, and particularly if they've been at it for decades, as many have. I expect to see more announcements in the coming days and weeks. So there is kind of a bright side to this, Ed, in that I'm hoping that we will have more, for lack of a better label, progressive candidates stepping forward, and there are. And I say, I hesitate to say progressive because that label has been bastardized by those who are not progressive. In fact, there are many city council members who claim to be progressive while they waste their time renaming streets instead of like focusing on problems in their wards.
Let's call them forward-thinking candidates.
It's a little clunky, but
But progressive, it's a tainted title now.
Yeah, as liberal has been bastardized in the past. So Lightfoot, who's running for re-election as mayor, has had some sometimes prickly relationship with various aldermen, leading to the fiery back and forth at city council and in meetings. But she said she and most of the members of city council have been able to govern together over the past 3 years. Yeah, because they're all like basically bootlickers. We've done tremendous things over the 3+ things.
You want to take a drink, Jerry?
Yeah.
I could take this one.
Well, you want to take the last? There's only one paragraph left.
We've done tremendous things over the 3+ things I've been 3+ things. 3+ years.
I was trying to figure out what
that meant here, but I'm just gonna say it the way they typed it. We've done tremendous things over the 3+ things I've been mayor to benefit our residents, Lightfoot said. But we're not gonna agree on every issue. But we don't have to. It's a democracy. Cough, cough. We debate and then we compromise.
We debate, we compromise, and it's always the way that she wants things to go.
Or it's like, it should be we debate and then they compromise.
Yeah, right? All right, so I found this interesting in light of Whoa, hold on a second. I think I just lost my volume. It's Oreo.
Well, I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. His head is on my keyboard here. He's like sprawled out like he's sunbathing or something. Will you come on, buddy? Give me a little break
Yeah,
here.
and actually, I think part of the other reason why the Great Resignation is happening, and then what Lightfoot doesn't want to tell you, is that a lot of the older people also moonlight as karaoke singers.
Everybody in the
Karaoke singers?
the jail has arrived. Shifty Henry said to Buck, for heaven's sake, no one's looking now's a chance to make a break.
And they might be going off on a tour with Blogo. You never know.
Yeah. So speaking of mayoral candidates or the candidates that are leaving city council to perhaps run against Mayor Lightfoot, this guy just announced he's throwing his hat into the clown car.
Ah, yes, that guy.
Commissioner Brandon Johnson. So this comes from WTTW. This guy is launching an exploratory committee for Chicago mayor. Now, he's a Cook County commissioner that just took office in 2018, and he's already ready to jump ship for the mayor's office. Shouldn't there be a law that says if you run for office, you don't automatically get to decide 2 years into that term that you've barely fulfilled your responsibilities for, that you're going to shift gears and go run for another office after that? I see so many candidates doing this. They get in on something that's easier to run on, and then once they're in there and they make all their connections and stuff, they decide they're going to go for the big seat. So Heather Sharon over at WTTW reports on this. Cook County Commissioner Brandon Johnson announced Tuesday he is exploring a possible run for Chicago mayor, taking the first step towards confronting Mayor Lori Lightfoot with a serious challenge from the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Johnson, 46, told WTTW News that he had been overwhelmed by calls from Chicago's progressive and labor community to run for mayor. Do you believe that, Ed? I didn't even know who this guy was till this article came out. He's been overwhelmed with phone calls elevating him to being this new savior of Chicago who's going to unseat Lori Lightfoot.
Phone calls from who?
Can we see the call logs, please? As well as their certainty that he was the best candidate to emerge from the crowded field and defeat Lightfoot, who is running for a second term. He's second year. What are we now? 2022. So he's his 2018, 20. Okay, so he's right at the end of his term as Cook County Commissioner, and now everybody thinks he's the best candidate to emerge to defeat Lightfoot.
Yeah, but who's everybody?
Good question. Johnson notified the Illinois State Board of Elections that he will use his Friends of Brandon Johnson campaign committee. Let's go, Brandon, to explore a run.
Yeah, I think he has that going against him.
You think? I think any other mayoral candidates are going to have to adopt that.
In Machine Blue Chicago, I don't know if "Let's Go Brandon" is gonna go over very well in the city.
AJ's, exploratory commission bribe assessment.
Yes, that would be exploratory in your wallets for donations.
That's exactly what it's going to be. So here's the kicker, Ed. He's got a fail-safe built in, because Johnson notified the Illinois State Board of Elections that he will use his Friends of Brandon Johnson campaign committee to explore a run for Chicago mayor while seeking re-election to the Illinois State Board of Elections. He's going to make sure his bread's buttered both ways.
Yeah,
Johnson's
that's not suspicious or weird at all.
Hinky. What does that mean, Vince? Hinky.
Oh, strange.
Weird. Well, don't you say strange or weird? I mean, hinky, that has no meaning.
We say hinky.
I don't want you guys using words around me that got no meaning.
hedging his bets. If he was that convinced that all these people who were calling him that we don't know think that he would emerge as the best possible candidate to unseat Lightfoot, why would he need to still seek re-election to the Illinois State Board of Elections? He said he and his wife wanted to make sure there is enough gas in the tank by gauging the support before announcing a campaign. That's who wants to throw campaign contributions to me to basically legislate your agenda. He went on to say, there he is, getting out of the car. This is a very urgent moment, said Johnson, who lives in Austin with his wife and 3 children who attend Chicago public schools. Families like mine are awaiting the city's political executive leadership to act with urgency. Johnson declined to set a deadline to decide whether to launch a campaign for mayor, nor would he say how much he wants the exploratory committee to raise. Everything is propelling us towards an announcement, Johnson said. It's coming. It's happening. That's what his wife said. Johnson, first elected in 2018 to represent Cook County's 1st District on the Board of Commissioners, was unopposed in June's Democratic primary. Johnson, who will face Libertarian candidate James Humay in November's general election, is expected to coast to victory in a heavily Democratic district that includes Chicago's West Side and Oak Park. So if he wins his position with the Illinois, if he wins his position as Cook County Commissioner, and then he decides he's going to run for mayor, who's going to continue on in that position he just won the election for?
Who
He
makes
doesn't
that?
care. He doesn't
Somebody
care.
make that appointment, or is there like a vice commissioner, a second, or like, or if in the unlikely event he's elected mayor, is he going to be appointing his own replacement?
Well, we know he's never going to be elected mayor, but he's going to raise a lot of money running for mayor, though, Ed. That's the thing. He can win his election as Cook County Commissioner, then run for mayor and raise a lot of money for his mayoral campaign for war chest.
Or does Cook County Board President pick the replacement there? Would it be like Preckwinkle or whoever?
Well, here's what he's best known for. As a member of the Cook County Board of Commissioners, Johnson is best known for authoring a measure that sought to prevent landlords from refusing to rent housing to people with certain criminal records. Johnson said the measure was designed to help county residents returning from jail or prison rebuild their lives. I would say if you're doing good work like that, clearly you're needed to continue those kind of initiatives to help people instead of deciding you're going to go raise money for yourself running for mayor. I don't know, man. It's just, as we said in that clip, it is kind of hinky. I mean, because it seems like he's doing good stuff where he is, and he's only in his 1st year there. So wouldn't you want to win re-election, do a little bit more there, get your name, get your branding more known before you do your branding more known, perhaps for the next, I don't know. Johnson also authored a non-binding resolution in the summer of 2020 that called for county officials to redirect funds from policing and incarceration to public services not administered by law enforcement that promote community health and safety equitably after the police murder of George Floyd touched off a wave of social justice protests and unrest.
Yeah, too bad it was non-binding.
The Cook County Board has earmarked $65 million for violence prevention plans during the next 3 years to address the root causes of crime and prevent people from reoffending. If he does enter the 2023 race for mayor, Johnson will have the inside track on winning the backing of the politically powerful Chicago Teachers Union. It's long been at loggerheads with Lightfoot over a host of issues. In the 2019 race, the union endorsed Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle, only to see Lightfoot win every ward and 74% of that vote.
It wasn't the teachers' union's fault for endorsing Preckwinkle. It was Preckwinkle's fault for taxing soda.
Johnson is following the playbook that Preckwinkle used in 2018. I would only argue that not as many people know who he is as they knew who Preckwinkle was. I mean, Preckwinkle's pretty much a career politician who shot herself in the foot with that sugar tax, which is what pretty much turned everyone against her. Preckwinkle announced she would explore a bid for mayor committee shortly after Labor Day before formally launching her bid in late September in the previous election. So Johnson is a paid organizer for the teachers union and appeared alongside union president Stacey Davis Gates at the City Club on August 22nd when she announced that she would not challenge Lightfoot, but left no doubt that she believes the city needs new leadership. Johnson taught social studies at reading at Jenner Academy Elementary School and Westinghouse College Prep. Johnson acknowledged that his close ties to the Chicago Teachers Union would be an issue if he does run, but suggested it would be no different than other candidates running for the city's top job after working at one of the city's largest law firms or companies. He's got a point there. And I mean, I would be more compelled to support someone that is aligned or allied with the teachers union because I think they're horribly I think that they're horribly maligned to begin with as far as the things that they want to set forth to improve circumstances for students in Chicago public schools. Chicago needs a visionary, game-changing executive to represent working people across Chicago, Johnson said.
Executive, I hate that word.
Yeah.
That's a red flag to me if somebody's saying that about a mayoral candidate.
So here's an interesting detail. In the 2019 contest, both Lightfoot and Preckwinkle claimed to be the true progressive in the race and took many of the same policy positions. For example, both candidates vowed to push to change state laws to allow Chicagoans to elect members of the Chicago Board of Education. But Lightfoot fought legislation to create a 21-person elected board by 2025, and Governor J.B. Pritzker signed it over her objections, a sign of the CTU's political muscle, which is good. I mean, Lightfoot basically ran on a lot of things that she ended up, pulling the rug out. No, yeah, she was a liar. I would even go so far as to say, Ed, that she is a fucking liar, right?
What a fucking bitch, am I right?
She runs.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
You heard what I said. And then she reneges on all of them. Here's another point. During the campaign, Lightfoot vowed to reopen public mental health clinics closed by former Mayor Rahm Emanuel, but did not do so after she took office. Instead, Lightfoot has expanded city funding for nonprofit organizations that provide care and counseling. Quote, you can't...
Yeah, that's not the same, Lori.
You can't just claim the label of progressive, Johnson said, without naming Lightfoot. People said they would deliver, but the question is, have they?
Why not? Dems are doing that all over the country, he said sarcastically.
Well, the article is linked in the chat. I'm sorry, in the show description below. There's a lot more information there. I don't know, man. My point, I've never heard of him before. And It bugs me that he's only served one term and he's ready to jump ship when there's clearly a lot of good work he's already doing over there, right? That he could continue to do. And I guess one could argue that he feels maybe he will have more power as the mayor of the city of Chicago to continue moving forward on a lot of the platforms and agendas that he's already managed to put through as a Cook County commissioner. But I don't know, man. He better, if he's going to do it, he's going to really need to up his name recognition, because there are others running in this race like Willie Wilson or Jamal Green or even, Ray Lopez, who've got far greater name recognition than he does right now. And the clock's ticking. We're almost into November and the election is in February, isn't it? 2023. How many months out are we now?
Less than, 6? Maybe.
And it's a crowded race.
When are they doing the primaries for that?
November.
March? November.
And then the mayoral election, I believe, is in February.
Oh, boy.
Double check on that. I'm pretty sure, having worked on 2 other mayoral campaigns in the past for different candidates, I think that was the time frame. I'm going to get the next story set up.
Stand by. Oh, when is it? Oh, well, the election will be held on February 28th, 2023.
That's what I thought. Yeah, February.
And if no candidate receives a majority of votes, a runoff election will be held on April 4th.
And everybody's out. So here's the other thing. Everybody's out getting petitions right now. He'd better move his ass really quick if he's going to do this, because it takes some time to collect those petitions to get on the ballot.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
That's like a major undertaking to begin with. And you have to have some money and some finances and mayoral campaign infrastructure to be able to hire people along with the volunteers you've got going out there to collect petition signatures. Where's the Mud Queen? She's on vacation, Kathy. She'll be back next Tuesday.
And if we go to the holy book of the WickerNet, the Wikipedia, I think it lists about 10 candidates that have declared. There's actually somebody. Who the hell is Bradley Laberman? Actor and realtor is listed in there.
Oh, he's probably doing it for PR purposes.
We'll have to find out who that guy is and see if he's actually serious. But there's so many people already running It's like it kind of feels like overkill that he would even want to do an exploratory committee at this point, unless he's just trying to get some cash.
I think that's what it might have to do with, Ed. You just took the word. I was about to say there's going to be a lot of money that they're going to have to raise for him to pull that off. And, candidates get to keep their money after they run, even if unsuccessful. So moving into our next story, this came across my radar thanks to Ed. You shared this with me on Slack. I think earlier this week or end of last week. So speaking of mayoral candidates, Representative Cam Buckner tweeted in regards to a WBEZ article. This administration won't even keep its own promises. There's no way they're going to keep the promises of a previous administration. More chicanery, trickery, deceit, and paid for by working class Chicagoans. Now, what is he referring to? He's talking about a proposal to swap CHA land for a new South Loop High School is part of an old trend, reported by Natalie Moore. For more than a decade, CHA has transferred land on former public housing sites for a CVS pharmacy, Mariano's Target, and XS Tennis. Land allotted for public housing is being given away to who else? Corporations that can't afford to go find land elsewhere. So this picture is sharing a vacant lot at West 24th Street and South State Street in the South Loop neighborhood is seen in this June 2022 file photo. The land is part of the former Harold Ickes public house, Harold Ickes or Harold Ikes? One or the other.
I don't know how they pronounce that.
Public housing development is being considered for a new public high school. For years, CHA has approved similar land deals as thousands of residents await the construction of replacement units on the sites of former public housing developments. A proposal to build a public high school in Chicago's South Loop neighborhood isn't a done deal, but the land swap that it involves isn't a new method. The Chicago Housing Authority Board voted last month to submit an application to the Federal Housing Department to lease land at 24th and State Street, part of where the former Harold Ickes homes existed. In exchange, CHA would get 2 additional parcels of land a few blocks away for the ongoing redeveloped mixed-income South Bridge where the South Loop meets the South Side. For more than a decade, the CHA has transferred land on former public housing sites for a CVS pharmacy, Mariano's, Target, and XS Tennis. Earlier this year, CHA approved a measure that starts the process for the Chicago Fire men's soccer team to build a training facility with a youth component on 25 acres of vacant land at the former ABLA homes on the west side. These amenities are on the footprint of new mixed-income housing developments, part of the ambitious plan for transformation that promised to change the scope of public housing from one of racial and economic segregation. But 23 years later, residents who were promised to come back are still waiting for housing to be built at many sites as construction has lagged. Vacant land remains on the State Street corridor, in particular CHA. For its part, has determined that housing alone won't create thriving communities, especially at locations that weathered decades of disinvestment. Jobs and economic vitality are at stake, officials say, and the number of promised units isn't diminished with the land deals. But residents feel a record of broken promises and want to return to places they once called home. I don't have a problem with them building any entities where you bring in money into the communities, but I do have a problem with them not building the return units of CHA. They continue to sell CHA land, but they're not building the housing, said Edda Davis, a tenant leader with the Dearborn homes. For example, CHA promised 1,000 public housing units at the former Ida B. Wells homes. Through September of 2016, there were 277 units that had been developed. In 2022, another 20 are supposed to be built. CHA starts everything, but they never finish. They're hurting us, said Beverly Fegans, a former Ickes resident who now lives in the Dearborn homes. Meanwhile, CHA CEO Tracy Scott said concentrated poverty and concentrated public housing has not worked. And so, given that, the vision around mixed-income housing, mixed-use developments is to create a larger community that supports residents' growth, supports children and their education, and supports their health and wellness, Scott said. According to public records, here are the details on some notable CHA land deals. In 2011, The board approved a land transfer agreement with the Target Corporation near the former William Green homes at the northwest corner of Division and Larrabee Streets. The exchange involved 3 to 5 acres of equal land value. During the term of the proposed hiring agreement, Target extended 75 job offers to CHA residents. In 2014, the board approved a purchase and sales agreement with Excess Tennis on vacant Robert Taylor Homes land at 53rd and State Street. Excess Tennis offered to pay CHA $2 million and to provide commensurate benefits to CHA residents in the form of scholarships and jobs equivalent to $2.6 million over a 10-year period for a total value of $4.6 million. As of December of 2021, 20 CHA residents were recruited and hired for construction positions. 355 CHA residents received XS tennis scholarships. 355 CHA residents received academic tutoring from Excess Tennis. CHA residents received 31,950 hours of tutoring from Excess Tennis. 160 CHA residents attended summer camp, and 8 jobs were offered to CHA residents. But I'm not seeing like housing there.
Yeah, where's the houses?
Yeah, that's all good and well, but where's the houses? How do you return these people who were dislocated from their neighborhoods and their homes to return to the neighborhoods?
And what was the details of the Target deal? It just says land transfer agreement. I mean, did Target pay for this land or not?
I'm not sure. It may have been like a trade-off for what they promised in the details there.
Yeah, but that what? 75 jobs?
75 jobs?
That's it?
No, it's not much. Maybe they were supposed to offer more. I don't know. Maybe they were supposed to offer more, and they haven't yet. 3 to 5 acres of equal land value.
Okay, I mean, if they want
the land CHA received has remained undeveloped. Let me actually open that so we can get into those details.
Okay.
As it's linked in the article. And this article was from December 16th of 2021. Let me shift over here. Because, yeah, that's a very fair question. All right, so this came from Alejandra Cancino of the Better Government Association. Transforming Chicago's most famous public housing complex will cost taxpayers $2 billion. It also came with often unkept promises of jobs, city contracts, and homes for those forced from the neighborhood. It's a picture of what it used to look like. The residents of Cabrini Green had reason to be skeptical. For years, their calls for help had gone largely unheeded. The conditions in their publicly subsidized high-rise apartments had only grown worse over time, and they had the political misfortune to be black and living in one of the most segregated cities in the nation. So when former Mayor Richard M. Daley, under increasing pressure to stop the national headlines, portraying their community as the model for the failures of public housing, sent prominent black politicians and city officials to their community to front his billion-dollar transformation plan, I don't have the $1 billion drop in I had programmed. Anyway, residents turned out by the hundreds. They gathered on a winter morning in 1997 inside a school auditorium. Many brought their children at the time. Cabrini Green had been neglected for years by their landlord, the Chicago Housing Authority. Once a sparkling beacon of hope for poor families, it had been allowed to deteriorate into a complex riddled with boarded-up units, broken elevators, and a litany of unmet maintenance needs, which also helped foster horrible, horrible crime in that area. Now Daley and his lieutenants promised an altogether new direction for the prime real estate on the city's near north side, tear it down and start over. The promises reverberated over the public address system into an arena filled with doubters. Everyone who wanted to return to the rejuvenated area could do so. They would get their fair share of the $1 billion economic pie. Hundreds of coveted construction jobs would be theirs. Fast forward nearly a quarter century and the dilapidated high-rises are gone, replaced with a well-groomed, freshly landscaped new neighborhood that includes an Apple store, a swanky riverwalk lined with boats, and more than 3,500 mixed-income apartments, most of which the original Cabrini Green tenants could never afford. I think it was a bamboozle, Ed. The total price tag to taxpayers is now more than doubled to $2 billion on a plan more than a decade behind schedule that has transformed a black neighborhood into a predominantly white one. By the time it's done, taxpayers will have spent more than $500,000 for each of the more than 3,500 Cabrini Green families that the city kicked out. A year-long Better Government Association examination of public records and dozens of interviews reveals decades of broken promises, unmet deadlines, and a long record of neglect continuing even today. Now, I'm trying to see where the article might talk about that Target deal. We know that the thousands of families who were promised they could return, more than 80% never did. Some were disqualified, relocated, or simply overwhelmed with bureaucracy. Many died waiting. Even today, 85 families who used to live in Cabrini Green are still on decades-old waiting lists to move back. Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who inherited the decades-old rejuvenation, and her public housing chief, Tracy Scott, declined to be interviewed for this report, which was released in 2021. But through a spokesperson, Scott said the redevelopment has created economic growth and opportunities that have benefited all residents, including families living in subsidized housing. And the BGA's questions regarding the city's broken promises related to decisions that were made many years ago. So they're passing the buck. Again, I'm trying to get to where they reference Target in this article. Let me use the handy find button. What do we got here? Find. See if we can find Target in this article.
Well, I got the press release from 2013
All right.
from the Chicago Housing Authority.
And what did they share?
It says, let's see. CHA CEO Charles Woodyard and a host of key city officials were on hand Tuesday to commemorate the important snapshot in Chicago's history, the opening of the near North Target at 1200 North Larrabee. That's in the form. The new Target is on the land of the former Cabrini Green public housing development and will bring at least 200 jobs to the neighborhood, including 75 for public housing residents.
All right, I found something in the article. By 2011, the same year the last Cabrini Tower came down, the CHA board swapped some of the newly vacant land with Target Corporation, giving the retailer 3.6 acres of city land appraised at nearly $16 million. In exchange, the CHA got similarly valued land farther north to develop a mixed income community, including 48 units for Cabrini Green residents. However, the other article claims that that hasn't been redeveloped at all. Target got the land, CHA got the other land that it swapped for and hasn't done anything with it. Still undeveloped. So Target got the best part of the deal. Yeah. In fact, most of the land where the towers once stood remains vacant. So going back to the article from the original article. Is it opening up? Come on, man.
It looks like Kathy Powers is playing catch up on the video here. She's talking about our newest addition to the clown car.
Yeah. Let's go to the live chat real quick, see what's going on there. Pat Brannigan, once the government says they are going to tear down housing, you know that they're not going to build low-cost housing. There's no pocket stuffing to be done with low-cost housing. Pretty much all public housing projects were abandoned by the city. Those folks were just an annoyance to the pocket stuffers. Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that. Well, so, similar but not the same as to what's happening in Uptown that we reported on with the Weiss Hospital parking lot and all the other development in Uptown. A lot of people are concerned in the future, they could shutter Weiss Hospital because that new development that's going up next door, they might want to just take the Weiss Hospital property that's being owned by other owners now and redevelop that as well, because there's just money to be made and they're putting out people.
And it's been done before.
Yeah, and people can't live in those neighborhoods. Yeah, it would be good to have a mayor do good things, Kathy. All right, so the article goes on to say, the WBEZ article. Oh, that's why I can't find it. I'm in the wrong article. And I'm still in the wrong article. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I had all my windows queued up before the show was to start to avoid all this. However, because I installed Chrome, reinstalled my Chrome so I wouldn't have any problems, I had to reboot the system to share my screen, which meant everything I had prepped got erased. You seeing anything interesting on that end, Ed?
I'm still trying to navigate the articles here. You were reading from another one, and I was like, "What is he reading from?"
Yeah, because I went to a Blog Club Chicago article. I'm going back into the WBEZ article now, where they were talking about the notable CHA land deals. We got detoured because the WBEZ article didn't go into details about the Target deal, which I went and found on another site. They swapped land that has not yet been redeveloped, while Target got to develop its land and give 75 jobs to CHA residents. In 2015, CHA entered into an agreement with Pershing King Drive LLC, which helped develop a Mariano's on the site of the former Ida B. Wells development. As part of the agreement, the developer was to set aside 40% of construction contracts to women and or minority-owned businesses. Mariano's hired 97 CHA residents. Mariano's paid CHA $5.4 million for the land. I think that might. I'm wondering if that's the location that Mariano's is going to shut down now, because didn't we hear about a Mariano's on the south side getting ready to close down? Yeah, in Bronzeville.
Oh, is that the place?
Yeah. You double check on that. Check on Mariano's Bronzeville, because isn't it ironic that they got this deal and now they want to basically bail on it? So all of those land deals preceded Scott, but the Chicago Fire deal, this is for the soccer team, will be finalized on her watch. Negotiations are still underway. That she said it will provide recreational and job opportunities for CHA families, but I'm not seeing where it's providing more housing. You know, this trade-off. Well, they're you know what they're doing, and they're giving out crumbs.
Yeah,
it's the same old routine. They're giving out crumbs.
Oh, I see my problem. I'm using the bad browser search engine.
Which one?
Let me use the good one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Google hates giving out actual information as opposed to their selected information that they want you to have. So
right.
Different search engine. Let's see if we got some information.
It also provides our children ways they can grow and consider career opportunities in soccer. The Fire is committed to also providing directly those career opportunities in terms of internships and jobs, both during construction and after construction, Scott said. As those conditions are negotiated, Scott says this is a chance for residents to voice their concerns and shape what front and back office jobs can be had with the soccer team. Because we have to make sure that the soccer team's wishes are at the forefront, not providing more affordable
build
housing.
Some houses. Build some houses, please.
Yeah.
Build houses for these people, please.
In 2009, CHA started making small decisions to sell or transfer land to commercial entities. And in 2013, CHA continued to dispose of public land. Public land they're disposing of and giving to corporations. Amy Carr has been documenting. She is research director of the National Initiative on Mixed Income Communities at Case Western Reserve University and studies land deals in Chicago. Some of that land has been used for really interesting and one could argue very positive contributions to the neighborhood, all of which are amenities that leaders within communities of color have long demanded, Carr said. At the same time, she points out thousands of people are waiting for housing. But let's look at the plus side, and not that people are still waiting for housing. So it's a real dilemma when we see a public agency whose mission is to deliver affordable housing, making decisions to again transfer land out of the public control and placing it into the private market, Carr said. Carr said her issue isn't with what's being created, but how. Her critique of the Target deal near Cabrini is that the swapped land included parcels spread throughout the near north side and therefore difficult to build housing on because it was land that couldn't be for a large multi-unit development, but rather smaller parcels where only single-family homes or other types of dwellings could be built. You know that they knew this. They saw what the size of those parcels before they made the deal, and they should have known that ahead of time.
Okay, Jerry, I don't think it was the Mariano's. I believe it was the Whole Foods on 63rd
Whole Foods,
Street.
that's right. Thank you. I wanted to make sure I was right.
Street
Whole Foods, that's the one.
Bronzeville and Englewood areas.
Thank you. I knew it was in that neighborhood, and I always confuse Whole Foods and Mariano's because they're both overpriced grocery stores. But
yeah,
thank you.
Whole Paycheck was much worse. Mariano's is hit or miss, and it comes from the people who used to run Dominic's. So sometimes you can get good deals. Sometimes you're paying a little more for good quality stuff.
Kara's critique goes on to say, why would the agency make a decision to move a large parcel out of possession and in exchange take land that they may or may not be able to build upon? And even though the proposed CPS neighborhood high school isn't a done deal, residents say they will continue to organize and demand their concerns, particularly their call for the construction of public housing units be taken seriously. That's what's lost in this whole shuffle. In all of these trades and land swaps, the housing is not being put back up to allow people to come back to their old neighborhoods.
Yeah,
and I would say that they knew that ahead of time, despite all the phony pandering that the Daley administration did when they announced they were tearing down the public housing units and that they were going to return them and build them better and make them affordable. Bullshit, man. It's just all more bullshit. We're used to that here in Chicago, aren't we?
This is such a crock of shit.
You're not to approve of your methods.
Yeah? Well, you're not from Chicago.
We always thought being from Chicago and our methods would be used for good, but sadly, not enough.
Well, we're a mixed bag in this city. We can't always be awesome.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to be double awesome.
With a double bean casino?
Double bean, double awesome.
All right, so I'm going to bring us back to the story I teased at the top of the show. Where we're talking about, converting Soldier Field into a music stadium, and that's fine. I just wonder if the residents around Soldier Field will be okay with that noise level, given what happened on the north side in Wicker Park with the salt shed. So this comes to us from Block Club Chicago. Quinn Myers, owners of the nearby SNI studio and lighting company, say the Salt Shed's concerts threaten their ability to rent out their studios because the noise makes it harder to record sound. I think everybody thought, when Morton Salt closed down, that whole complex is kind of a landmark. It's got some historical significance, right? The Morton Salt Grill on the side of the building, and a lot of people were concerned that was all going to be torn down and lost. More of our neighborhood's identities with different old businesses shutting down and that building being lost. So there was a plan that was set forth, a proposal to redevelop the property, which, I think was a good idea, but apparently they didn't do all their homework ahead of time, because this is on Goose Island. The first month of concerts outside Chicago's newest musical venue have been a success, bringing in foot traffic and highlighting businesses and artists in an area long dominated by industry operators and industry leaders said. But owners of a commercial production studio across the river said the noise from the outdoor shows impedes their ability to record sound for their projects, which could force them to spend millions to soundproof their building and save their business. The Salt Shed at 1357 North Elston Avenue opened August 2nd and hosted 10 shows throughout the month. They've been held outside what will become its permanent venue in the former Morton Salt warehouse, which is under construction. The concerts have showcased jazz drummer Micaiah McCraven, Andrew Bird, Fleet Foxes, and Lord Huron, among others, and many sold out. The venue is also hosting small businesses such as Semicolon Bookstore and Record Breakers, which set up booths for each show and held a summer salt market in mid-August with local vintage sellers. It looks like a nice development, but they didn't think about how the outside noise was going to affect anybody around them.
Well, it makes you wonder if they even bothered to ask any of the businesses in the area if they had any concerns about the modifications they were going to be making there in the conversion to basically a noise-making machine.
That's what the alderman is supposed to do. That's what a lot of aldermen want to do before the mayor decides she's going to bring stuff like NASCAR into town.
Well, I mean,
find out what do people in that neighborhood feel about all the noise and danger.
Aren't businesses supposed to get permits for that kind of stuff before they end up, building something that basically is there?
Everybody in the wholesale block, the jailhouse arrived.
Damn it, I can't record this stuff because Blogo's making another karaoke video.
So apparently the outside is open, but the inside isn't done yet because there's supposed to be an indoor venue. But I don't think the outdoor venue is going to close when they reopen the indoor. Or maybe they will. Let's continue with the article. Yeah. Because I admit I didn't read this entirely because the story just broke before the show started.
Yeah, I think actually, Jerry, I think I saw one of the guys who was running this place talk about how it was like they're gonna, once they get the indoor going, the outdoors basically just gonna be kind of like a marketplace kind of thing.
Okay, so hopefully SNA Studios won't have to spend millions of dollars soundproofing their facility across the river there.
Yeah,
so the indoor
that said, they still have a stage out there, and I highly doubt they're gonna get rid of it entirely. I'm sure in the summertime they'll probably use it as a backup or a secondary stage.
The indoor venue is expected to open by the second half of 2023, said Bruce Finkelman, managing partner of the 16 on Center Hospitality Group that operates the Salt Shed. The company also owns the Empty Bottle, Talia Hall, and other venues and restaurants in the Chicago area. Yeah, where Tanya Hall is a great venue, except when they decide to have their what are the inmates run the asylum as far as who they want to approve filling that place. Do we want to go into that? I guess we can.
No, we don't have to.
Why not?
I mean, we could bring it up for momentarily. It's
momentarily.
Just,
the reason I'll spill the beans, okay? Because I'm not, it's done deal now. The reason Jimmy Dore couldn't come back to Talia Hall, despite the fact he fills it. A lot of tips, generates a lot of revenue. It's because there were some shit libs working on the staff that were offended by him allegedly for calling out shit libs for shit libs. Which is ridiculous. Wow, way to shoot yourself in the foot. Popular South Sider, son of Chicago, comes back, does well nationally, but you don't want to give him. But he says things that are just too mean against the Democrats, so you don't want him to come back and play the Hall.
I mean, look, if you own a venue, I guess you get to do whatever you want as far as who you're letting play on.
Yeah, you're letting them off too easy though, Ed. It's very illegal.
I mean, that's as far as I'm willing to go with that. I mean, you're shooting yourself in the foot if you had someone like Joe Rogan. I mean,
Joe Rogan filled the Chicago theater. Those venue operators knew whether Joe Rogan rubs some people the wrong way, he's going to make them money, and he's going to end up making a lot of money for the staff that filled the Chicago theater that night. Full.
Yeah.
Sold out. They had to actually add extra shows. And when Jimmy plays Chicago, they have to add extra shows. So I'm just going to say shame on the alleged staff at that venue that Jimmy used to play for deciding to shut him out because your feelings were hurt in regards to holding Democrats accountable. So we'll move on. Yeah, Pat mentions it. I liked Talia Hall until they told Jimmy Dore that they didn't like his politics. I used to get emails from them, but I unsubscribed. I don't think I'm sharing anything that's private anymore, Ed. I think that's kind of public knowledge now. In fact, didn't Jimmy talk about that with Kit when he did the last interview over at Herdland's?
He might have. I think he might have mentioned it in the interview.
Yeah,
if I remember.
So I'm not violating any confidentiality.
It's not news at this point.
All right, so 1 month in, staff and organizers couldn't be happier at how the Salt Shed launch has gone, Finkelman said. We're just really proud of what the team's been able to achieve. It's been a long project, blah, 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 blah. All right, so let's get into more pictures of the outdoor venue there. Then we'll get to the SNA Studios people.
From a music fan standpoint, I like that this place exists now because it'd be cool to see a show here. But
however,
look, if you're a business in the area and you got to deal with sound that isn't this concert, it's like, that can be a pain in the ass.
Well, here's what it comes down to, and I know this myself. Anytime you're working on a production and you're on location, it especially happens when you're on location. In fact, I visited a location this weekend. A friend of mine was shooting a film, and action. And they started rolling, and suddenly an ambulance, a police car rolled into the neighborhood that had nothing to do with production. It's like these are important details when you're running a business, especially a production business. Now, SNA Studio and Lighting Company has been established there for a while. They're an indoor studio, right? And, they're not contending with loud music outside because they've never had to do that before. Because when people use even an inside of a studio, you can hear things through some walls.
Yeah, so I mean,
depending on the construction,
it's possible they already have the standard levels of soundproofing, but it's probably not enough.
Going to do more. So there's simply no way for us to operate on days when there are shows. Two business owners across the river said the Salt Shed's outdoor concert series is a near disaster for their TV commercial studio. SNA Studios and Lighting, 1346 North Branch Road, sits on Goose Island across from the Salt Shed. The company regularly books out its 2 studios to production companies for TV commercials and other video projects. Those productions often record sound, which wasn't a problem until music from the concerts and during afternoon sound checks began to bleed into the studios last month, owner Jules Tomko and manager Jim Shearer said. That's left SNA Studios unable to guarantee productions will be able to record sound effectively, putting at risk the company's ability to conduct a large portion of its business, they said. SNA has tried to schedule productions around the shows, but they'll start losing significant revenue if that continues, Tomko and Shearer said. The company is looking at multi-million-dollar renovation estimates to soundproof the studio. Most jobs can't schedule around things. Typically, you have celebrity talent and their availability. You got somebody that's only available from, 1 to 5 p.m. on this given day, and you've got to record sound with them. Well, if that day is a day that they're doing stuff at the Salt Shed and they can't be, then they can't be here, Shearer said. SNA often books multi-day productions, but if there's a Salt Shed concert on even one of those days, the company could be at risk of losing the contract. Ed, while I read through this, can you look up who's the alderman in this neighborhood?
The alderman.
He pointed to a recent shoot where the production company filmed and recorded sound at SNA Studios 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for 4 days. If there had been a concert on one day, we would have had to turn the whole job away, and it was for about $55,000, he said. SNA has reached out to city officials and others about the issue, but the team hasn't gotten much response, Shearer said. The only compromise he sees as feasible going forward is if the Salt Shed commits to keeping its shows indoors when the venue opens next year. We're not against the inside venue. We're not against 16 on center. We actually think that the adaptive reuse of the Salt Shed building for an indoor music venue is a really great use of an iconic building, Shearer said. But at the end of the day, I don't think that there's a way for us to coexist with that venue having the outside component to it. Finkelman said he hopes it doesn't come to that and said the Salt Shed's management are committed to being a good neighbor. The team has worked with SNA and other neighbors to provide advance information about each show, as well as allowed the studio to conduct acoustic testing earlier this year with this venue's sound system. They've tried to.
I think it's the 27th Ward. Would that be Alderman Walter Burnett? I think.
If you say so.
Let's see. Well, he was the one pushing for it, so I think so, yeah.
So he should have been liaisoning with other businesses in the community regarding the sound impact of the outdoor venue.
Well, and at this point, what they should be doing now is working with SNA Studios and the Salt Shed venue to try and get them to work together on a deal so that the Salt Shed can cover the expenses of the additional soundproofing, and then maybe they can work out a package where some of the performers that will be at the Salt Shed will also get certain types of recording packages, and maybe they show up early and do some studio recording, and then they go and do their show later in the evening. But that would make too much sense.
Yeah. To Pat Brannigan's question in the chat, again, why is a recording studio not soundproofed in the first place? Actually, they are. There's a picture right there. Jules Tomko holds open a soundproof door at SNA Studio and Lighting on Goose Island on August 3rd, 2022. So they have sound. That studio is already soundproofed, Pat, but it's soundproof for traffic outside going by, not loud music right across the river from them.
Yeah, the biggest problem is probably going to be the bass.
Yeah, the bass from the sound system, right?
Because bass, it's just vibrations. It's very difficult to soundproof for that. So if you've got gigantic amplifiers at a performing place like the Salt Shed, you could have really good soundproofing in your studio, and that bass is still going to bleed through and vibrate. So there may be a more expensive solutions to that, but clearly SNA hadn't been planning for that.
SNA and the Salt Shed sit in the North Branch Industrial Corridor, which is served by Community Development Group North Branch Works. The organization's executive director, Jonathan Snyder, said he's been in touch with the companies about their concerns and believes they can find middle ground over the sound issues. Snyder says he sees the Salt Shed as a creative way to repurpose a former industrial facility. We know that, but SNA has had a large economic impact. SNA has had a large economic impact on the area for more than 2 decades. It's a really tough situation. I mean, I can't imagine a better adaptive reuse for the Salt Shed itself, Snyder said. You're not going to be able to preserve the building without some sort of venue that takes advantage of the unique space that it presents. Inside, yeah. We're talking about the outside part. At the same time, I don't think that people were imagining as many outdoor amplified events as are going on. And I think that's the rub. And those outdoor amplified events, because the indoor is not ready yet, do impact the neighbors as much as the Salt Shed representatives have tried to mitigate the impacts. It creates a lot of sound, and that sound spills out in the area. So that you're not impacting residents, you are impacting businesses. Shearer said he's watched part of the few shows from his company's property and has enjoyed the music, but the noise is posing a risk to how SNA operates. If this thing was like, a half-mile away, it'd be awesome, Shearer said, but without a massive investment in sound hardening on our building, there simply is no way for us to operate on days when there are shows. So, well, I hope that they can sort it out, because as much as it's great that, there's new economic opportunity across the river, to screw over a business that's been operating for 20 years across the river in this way without having, explored that impact ahead of time is very, very regrettable. Some pictures from the outdoor. Looks like it's a nice event.
Pat Brannigan says, I wonder if the Salt Shed could put up barriers to stop some of the sound.
Not in an outdoor venue like that. No, not see what I'm pointing here?
There's only so much you can do with barriers like that. But
I think that's SNA right across the river where I'm pointing my arrow to. So unless you put a wall on the east side of that venue, and which would be on the west side of the river,
they literally would have to build these gigantic sound barrier walls.
Like you see on expressways.
If you ever drive up to Alpine Valley in Wisconsin to go see a concert, you'll see some of those sound barrier walls that they have built on up near the expressway when you're on your way up there. And it's they're huge, they're massive. I highly doubt they would build anything like that in Chicago.
No, because you don't want to obstruct the view that we also just shared there.
Yeah.
People attending that concert are going to want to see that view. All right, so in light of all of the, somewhat not great news we were reporting on.
So yeah, I hope there's no sound studios anywhere else that they're going to be building some large concert or entertainment complexes like, I don't know, a casino.
Yeah, right. The noise they haven't even. Are they? I wonder if there's going to be any outdoor performances at that casino and how they're developing.
I think wasn't that part of the plan in there? As that they were going to have, they wanted to have some outdoor entertainment.
So they're going to fuck
right by the river.
They're going to fuck up the traffic. They're going to bring in crime, and they're going to impact the neighborhood with more noise. All right, guys. Block Club Chicago, Maya McDonald reports that more residents are now eligible to get lead water lines replaced through city programs. The program can save single-family and two-flat homeowners up to $30,000 as they replace their lead-lined service lines. The Chicago Department of Water Management has worked for years to replace lead service lines, but it's recently dropped some of the requirements for a program that allows residents to get the lines replaced for free. Spokesperson Megan Vitti said, now most Chicagoans just need to qualify as low income to apply. You know what? That's
just replace the damn lines.
It shouldn't just be low income. It should be everybody. They should be gone. They should be replaced. Just think of all the jobs it would create, Ed, right?
Fuck this noise, man.
Just replace the water lines.
It'll create jobs, and I'm sure there are lots of contractors that have relationships with city alderpeople, and the mayor's office are just waiting for that opportunity. That's where investment needs to go. Okay, we don't need to worry about the dome on Soldier Field. Give the money to the contractors that can start fucking replacing, because the lead, as I understand it, the lead line pipes are only being replaced when there's other construction going on in plumbing in infra. For example, like if a construction crew is working on plumbing and pipes surrounding a new development, that's when they will replace those pipes. When they're already going into the ground, they're not going to go dig up stuff where there's no other construction going on, which is what they should be doing. If you need to qualify as low income to apply. Existing service lines which transport water from the water main in the streets into homes can be replaced with a copper service line through the Equity Lead Service Line Replacement Program. Residents may also be eligible for installation of a free water meter to help save money on water bills. The program can save homeowners up to $30,000. To qualify for the program, residents must live in a single-family home or 2 flat they own. I qualify so far, and have a household income below 80% of the area median income.
Why
80%.
are we putting means testing on replacing the water lines? Just replace the freaking water lines.
Yes!
A family of 4, for example, must earn $83,350 or less.
Why?
Do you know how $83,000 does not go far with a family of 4? And that's practically poverty level. I mean, what is the poverty level for a single income household? 30,000, 35,000, or under 35,000 is the poverty level. People interested in the program can complete the application online and email it to. Look, take advantage of it if you qualify. And it's linked in the description in the show notes below. Complete the application and online.
I mean, look, if you got lead problems and you're in Chicago, and lead problems in your water, and odds are you have lead problems in your water because you're in Chicago, raise holy hell with the mayor, because the city's not broke. We've got the money to do the replacements. Just have them get them replaced.
I put the link in the chat for where you can. I love the website for it. It's here. I got to bring this up. This is just. My God. Ready? Okay. I don't know who they're hiring over there, but
ChicagoWaterQuality.org/LSLR Equity.
Here we go.
How about just
Equity Lead Service Line Replacement Program? Shouldn't there be an either?
Replacement program?
It's the replacement program. Yeah. Isn't that great?
Typos are awesome.
Funny. All right. So complete the application online and email it to lead.safe@citychicago.org or download the application and mail it to the Department of Water Management.
They couldn't even do their shortcut easy. I mean, why isn't it ChicagoWaterEquity.org/fix the pipes?
Because that means more people would go apply for it that they don't want to give money to.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, because you would want to have a vanity URL. You would want to have a vanity URL that's very easy to remember. Priority for service line replacement projects will be given to residents who have children 18 and younger in their home, and to those with elevated lead levels in their home, and as determined through a free water test kit from the Department of Water Management. Go ahead.
Why isn't every resident of Chicago getting a free water test kit?
That should be sent out automatically. You have to order them.
And why isn't the city regularly testing the water for lead?
Good question. Because we have to we have to put our funds towards casinos and sports stadiums.
And NASCAR races, Jerry.
And NASCAR races and tax deals to Target and all these companies that they've done land swaps to without putting in affordable housing.
You know, Jerry, if we did regular testing on the water in Chicago, then we can't have plausible deniability when we tell everybody that the water here is great.
That's actually
everybody pick up a 6-pack of Chicago.
Yeah. And I think that, you know what the secret ingredient in Chicago is, Ed? Lead. Thank you. I said that when they first rolled that stuff out. I'm like, what's the big selling point? You're canning and bottling Chicago water?
Actually,
when we know there's lead in the water?
In reality, I think they're filtering out the lead for the canned water, but
That's what they say.
no way to know.
After applications are approved, residents will meet with a city-provided contractor to discuss the work, how it will be done, and agree to it according to the program's website. The city also has the homeowner-initiated program, which waives permit fees for homeowners wanting to hire contractors to remove an existing lead service line. Through the program, which provides savings of up to $3,100, the city will attach a new service line to the water main and provide a free water meter for the contractor to install if there isn't already one in place, according to the program's website. Plumbers can be selected by residents themselves or picked for a list of city recommended plumbers. So all the information is there. Application is there at that website. Have it highlighted in the chat here. If you qualify, take advantage of it. What can I say? They should be giving it to everybody, though. All right, rounding into the home stretch here. I forgot to bring my reading glasses from the other room, so I'm struggling to read my show notes here. Just give me a moment. I'll have this one up. All right. Some sad news to report. This came from Block Club Chicago. This was a shooting in Rogers Park not too long ago. Devin McGregor, 5, dies after being shot in Rogers Park. And the epidemic of gun violence and crime across Chicago continues. Devin died Thursday after being shot in his head in Rogers Park earlier this week. Neighbors have raised more than $22,000 for the family. This poor child on his first day of kindergarten. He died just after 8 p.m. Thursday at Lurie Children's Hospital, where he had been in critical condition after he was shot Sunday, according to police in the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. We're deeply saddened and don't have the words to express our grief, Tamika Sargent, Devin's grandmother, wrote on GoFundMe. Devin was in a car with his parents around 5 p.m. Sunday in the 7600th block of North Paulina Street when his father, 25, stepped out of the car briefly, police said. Someone in a black Hyundai drove up and a person in the back seat fired shots, hitting Devin in his head, police said. Devin's mother drove him to a hospital in Evanston. He was transferred to the intensive care unit at Lurie Children's Hospital, where he remained until his death Thursday, his family wrote on the fundraising page. I'm just... Okay, so this is what shocks me whenever I read these stories, Ed. Well, there's a lot that shocks me. I've gone to a target range for target shooting in the past with my dad many years ago. And it's hard to hit a target, right? Unless you're training. Every time I hear about these stories, someone just drives up and people are they never miss their targets hitting people in the head. This was like I don't know if this was random or not, but the article that someone just jumped out of the car and started shooting wildly, hitting the kid in the head.
I think I had read another story earlier in the week that they suspected that the father might have been the target. But,
okay. So the father was shot in his left hand and shoulder and brought himself to St. Francis Hospital in Evanston, where he was in good condition, officials said. Devin, who was also known as Boom, started kindergarten in Evanston just days before he was shot and was excited about being in school, his family told the Tribune. Sargent wrote that Devin was a happy and energetic kid. The incident rocked the Rogers Park community, which held a prayer vigil for Devin and called for an end to violence. A call for peace was also held Friday morning outside Gale Elementary School. Family and neighbors have donated more than $22,000 to Devin's family as of Friday afternoon. There's a link to donate to the family. I'm going to open it here, share it in the chat. Unless Ed beats me to it, as he often does. But maybe I got it here. Here we go. I'll also put it up here on screen. There's not much to say about this other than the shooting was reported last week, and I wanted to report on the developments. It's heartbreaking. It's tragic. And sadly, it's just become, a commonplace everyday story. Another kid got shot. Another innocent person got shot. Crazy people are running around the city just out of control with these weapons. What have I said before? Regulate the ammunition if you're not going to fucking outlaw the weapons. Although there is although there is a ban in Chicago, the weapons are still coming in from elsewhere. So if you can't control the flow of illegal weapons or whatever weapons do get in here, why can't we start regulating the ammunition and making it harder to get a hold of? Oreo, what are you doing?
I don't know what to communicate here.
I know
that can make people understand that we got to stop shooting each other.
Or we have to figure a common sense solution to how to prevent it from happening, because overfunding the police is not helping anything. The weapons bans in Chicago, whatever other safeguards they have in place with background checks isn't working, as we saw with that nut job in Highland Park, who had severe mental health questions in his past. Yet his father decided to go, recommend and sponsor him to go get a gun, despite the fact he had mental health issues. And the state police ignored the mental health records and just gave him the gun because his dad sponsored it, because his dad had money. It's just crazy. Lost for words. Pat says that was the roughest part of Rogers Park. Used to live up there. Yes, Art. Often I find myself stumbling in my words, trying to form coherent thoughts, because it just seems it's the same thing over and over and over again. And it does become mentally exhausting. I've actually began reevaluating how I know that I'm an empath. Okay. I'm always feeling and I just have an innate sense of empathetic feelings towards people and being understanding and stuff. And this stuff is fucking exhausting every time we got a report. It drains me, and I'm sure it drains you, Ed, and I'm sure it drains Kira.
I look during the week for stories to share in our Slack for upcoming shows, and it kills me every time I look through the news feed and 2/3 of them are somebody shot somebody else, somebody got robbed in broad daylight, which actually just happened.
To a woman downtown, I think it was.
I think in Lakeview, actually.
Lakeview, that's right. I can't keep track, Ed.
The city, people in the city are just losing their minds. They're getting desperate. It's hard to analyze because there's so many bad things going on right now. It has to all be contributing to just the overall
breakdown
dread.
of American society.
It's also
empire.
It's a breakdown, and then it's creating dread for a lot of people, and other people are just, they're like, well, we're not getting help from our government, or they're making us jump through hoops, or they're,
you have to be means tested to keep lead out of your pipes.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and you got to apply for a lottery to get a transit card or some gas money that you won't get for a handful of months. It's too little, too late. It's a bunch of crumbs, and I think a lot of people have had it. It's driving people crazy. It's making people get desperate. It's making people do things maybe they wouldn't normally do, or it's making people feel like they got nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
And so we end up with a lot of these stories where just, I don't know what kind of wars are breaking out in the city, during people in different neighborhoods fighting for resources, fighting for turf. Some guy hurt some other guy's friend, so now the other guy's friend has to go and hurt some other guy, and it's an endless cycle. Where does it end?
Art, I think you and I and Ed and anybody else in the live chat should like pick a date in the near future at some local watering hole. You know what? I'll pick it, the Lincoln Tap Room. Where we can like plan an evening, all just go out and get souse together and just enjoy each other's company. Enjoy something good, right? You know what? That actually, let's do that soon. I love the Lincoln Tap Room because of its ambiance. I don't know what its hours are these days, but we should do a little viewer get together. Just say, hey, we're going to be here this night. Come on out, join us, have a beer, have a drink, and I think I'm going to put that together and announce it on Friday night's show. Now that I think about it, we'll have to try and figure out something soon. Anyway, yeah, Ed. I mean, Art. Thank you. Yeah, I am exhausted, but it's also been a long day, and we're coming into our last story, which is, I'd like to end the show on a positive note. This came from Block Club Chicago. How well do you know Chicago history? Too well, unfortunately, but you can still test your knowledge at Hideout Trivia. This comes from Quinn Myers at Block Club Chicago. The fall series features a different theme related to Chicago history each month. It's hosted in partnership with the Newberry Library and Chicago History Museum. Monthly trivia nights at the Hideout return this week with topics including current events in Chicago history. Hideout Trivia starts at 6 p.m. the first Wednesday of every month in September, October, and November at the Bar and Music Venue at 1354 South Wabansia Avenue. Each month features a theme related to Chicago. September's theme is Working for the Weekend and will include questions related to the city's labor movements. Hideout Trivia began as a virtual series in 2021 during the pandemic before moving in person last July. It's hosted in partnership. Hey, Ed, while I'm reading the story, can you do me a quick favor?
Yeah.
Check what Lincoln Tap Room's hours are this Saturday.
Okay.
I don't think they're affected by the pandemic, but let's see if I want to announce this tonight, and then I'll also announce it Friday. Let's just pick a night and do it because it would be fun to, and I'll also promote it on Twitter and our Facebook, and we'll do a little Chicago Corner night out at Lincoln Tap Room. Hideout Trivia began as a virtual series in 2021 during the pandemic before moving to in-person. And I could really afford. I really need to get out. I need a social life, as I think we all do.
We're doing this next Friday? This coming Friday night?
No, this Saturday night. Let's look at this
Saturday
night. Yeah.
Well, their hours are listed as 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. Oh, they're a 3 a.m. bar.
Yeah.
Fancy.
All right, everybody listening right now, 8 o'clock this Saturday at the Lincoln Tap Room. I'm going to leave it to Ed to post the information in the live chat while I read this article. This Saturday, which is September 7th, 8th, 9th, I think it's September 10th. Looking at my calendar here.
Saturday, 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. We're not going to be there the entire time.
No, it's September 10th. Okay, so everybody, Saturday, September 10th, 8 p.m. Mark your calendars. If you're in Chicago, let's all meet at the Lincoln Tap Room and have a couple beers. Big space, great ambiance. The Lincoln Tap Room is on Lincoln.
The 10th? Okay.
The 10th, September 10th. It's at it's at the crossroads of Lincoln, Wellington, and Southport. Lincoln, where that beautiful old St. Alphonsus Church is, which figured into the finale of the movie I did for Lifetime. So yeah, Saturday, September 10th, 8 p.m. or before. You can come early. Let's all just like have an informal get together for a beer at the Lincoln Tap Room. Yeah, okay, Kathy, you've got to wash your hair. You do that. Not enough, Jerry. You have a lot to learn about the city of broken promises. Oh, you think so, Kathy? All right, well, let's get back to the article regarding Chicago trivia. Hideout Trivia began as a virtual series in 2021 during the pandemic before moving to an in-person last July. It's hosted in partnership with the Chicago History Museum and Newberry Library. Local musicians Lily Emerson and Charlie Malave will provide music throughout the event. Participants can play in up to teams of 6 with prizes awarded to the teams coming in first, second, and third. Admission is $10 to $25 on a sliding scale, with all proceeds from the event benefiting Chicago nonprofit My Block, My Hood, My City. Tickets and information is available at the Hideout's website. So I would say, like, I would go participate in this one, but it's tomorrow night. There's just not enough time. I'm not prepared for this. But maybe in the future, Chicago Corner will also participate in Hideout's Chicago trivia.
Yeah, we could come back on a Wednesday.
Yeah. But in the meantime, this Saturday night, 8 p.m.
Yeah. Ooh, $6 Jaeger bombs on Saturday. Oh, right.
It's a great bar, man. I'll go in afterwards. We should walk to Chicago Pizza and have a slice of too. I'm sure Ed would be up for that too. Chicago's Pizza. I think they're open till 3 a.m. also on weekends. So we'll have a nice night.
I'll bet we could get them to deliver to the bar.
They do that because I have had that happen. Yeah, I've done that in the past. When I've hosted,
that sounds like a plan.
That's our plan. Ed and Art and everybody else in the live chat in Chicago, mark your calendars. This Saturday, 8 p.m. at the Lincoln Tap Room, 3010 North Lincoln Avenue. We're all going to get together and
it's every pizza lover's dream: eating pizza and drinking alcoholic beverages in a tavern style pizza in a tavern.
Absolutely. We talk about these things and I'm like, fuck it. Let's just do it. Let's stop talking about it. Let's just plan it and do it. That would be good.
Yeah. So remind me on Friday so I don't forget.
I will. Well, I'm going to promote it Friday. And also, Art, pass it along to our group. Pass it along to Lola and Iggy and Mike and Uwe. We have a group that we usually hang out with. And hopefully we can get some more Chicago Corner participants and viewers. Be nice to meet some people in person.
Yeah, we'll see if anybody from the 99 Perspectives crew wants to come out and join and haunt us too.
I'll mention it. Yeah, I'll share it with everybody. I'll put it on our Twitter so everybody at Hardlands Media can find out about it, and everybody who follows us on Twitter that might not.
Oh, a Chicago Corner trivia night. That'd be interesting. Because then everybody would, who's going to get the chocolate milk cow question? That's what I want to know.
The origins of the chocolate milk cow? We'll have to have Ron Bruiser come out.
Who invented the chocolate milk cow? Because that's where chocolate milk comes from.
Yes. I believe that. Oh, you know what? We also had this interesting little, I'll share this too. Since it's in the show notes, why not? All right, stand by, guys. I'll bring up this last little video report. I'm sure there's going to be a commercial on the front end of it. I got to mute out. Because we did talk about this program that the Chicago Police Department is offering to paint your catalytic converters pink.
Yes.
You want to do a recap while I bring this up?
Completely useless program where the Chicago Police Department will deter thieves of your catalytic converter by painting them bright neon pink and putting a CPD letters on your catalytic converter. Do you think they really care? They're just in it for the palladium and other precious metals.
And from what you told me when we last shared this story, a catalytic converter is going to just completally...
It's going to burn it all off anyway.
Burn it all off immediately. Yeah.
Well, I mean, those things get really, really hot. Unless they're gonna give you, the super high end chrome paint job with the ceramic paint coating, I don't think they're gonna do that for you.
We got a $1 super chat from Kathy Powers, and you know what that means.
Is that me gold?
What the hell are you?
I'm a leprechaun, me dear.
Here, this is what you're looking for, right?
Lost my eyes, startling, help! I'm the leprechaun. Garth, I'm the leprechaun!
Cool it, okay?
I'm the leprechaun!
Stop it, all right?
Don't try and steal me pot of gold!
This Lori Leprechaun moment was brought to you by Flavor Improving Mugs. The mugs that improve flavor.
Actually, it was brought to us by Kathy Powers, too, for the $1 super chat. All right, so...
And also Kathy Powers. Thank you, Kathy.
All right, so let's tip our hat to Chicago's finest in regards to Well, I'll just play the report.
So the search is still on to find this man right here. Devin Revels, an escaped prisoner. It's been 5 days since he kicked out the window of a police car.
They're still looking for him?
West Side. You may remember this. Here is the scene Thursday. Officers searching the Columbus Park golf course. Revels escaped police custody while being driven to Elmhurst, where he is suspected of stealing a car's catalytic converter. So the search is still on to find this man right here.
And apparently he's only one guy in a crew. So where are the other guys? Did they catch any of them?
I don't know. I got nothing on how completely useless they are. And like the fact that he even got out of the car to begin with. I didn't know that you could kick out the windows of a police car that easily.
Well, I guess you can't. So now that's going to be another expense that they're going to try and ask for more money for when they already have too much.
So, Ed, how's my stream been tonight? Now that I've got the new and improved operating system.
It's been pretty good. I saw a couple little hiccups early on in the stream, but that was because you had the Tribune site up and they like to throw a bunch of streaming videos on their web pages that you didn't ask for.
They overwhelm the activity monitor,
and it takes over the RAM on your computer, and it also takes over bandwidth. It's really a bad way to do a website, Tribune.
Well, I finally had to bite the bullet and upgrade my Mac OS from 32-bit to 64-bit because I have an opportunity to edit a friend's film that they shot, and it was shot on a Red Cam, and my older system would not have been able to bring the footage in. So I'm like, all right, I got to do it. But it also solved the problems of StreamYard here. So hopefully we will have smoother sailing as we continue to go on with the live streams. So
Yes!
So I will be back this Friday along with Ed, possibly Kit. I'm not sure who'll be joining us for our Friday night broadcast, but I will return. I know that Kira will be back next Tuesday herself. And Ed, thanks as always for joining me tonight. It's always a pleasure and very, very helpful to have you joining me for the broadcast, commenting, and also helping run the board.
Happy to be here. I'll be back on Friday, and hopefully I will have a few more functioning neurons than I had today. I got a little short-circuited earlier in the show, but I always find something that to talk about here. You know, if we're not ranting about the potholes, we are talking about pizza. We're talking about the weird politics of Chicago. We're definitely talking about the antics of our city's mayor.
Hey, you know, maybe there was an upside to this story about the catalytic converter thief. Now everyone knows you can kick out the window of a police car.
Yes. I think I actually saw that in a movie once.
Yeah. Well, listen, to everybody in the live chat also, thanks for joining us tonight. You know, we always love entertaining you and sharing stories with you and getting your feedback and your insight and your stories and everything you have to share in the live chat with us. As always, as we go through the rest of this week, please make sure that you stay safe, remain vigilant, watch out for each other, take care of each other, and as always, remember, if it's happening on the streets, you'll hear about it here on Chicago Corner. I will return this Friday. Please tune in then as we recap the rest of our stories from this week as I scramble to go into our drop-ins. Here we go. Have a safe week, everybody. Stay safe.
Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.